constantly clearing your throat throughout the day? Feeling that thick mucus stuck in your chest that just won't come out no matter how much you cough? That heavy sensation when you breathe like something is blocking your airways? Listen to me carefully because what I'm about to tell you could change everything, and I need you to understand that this phlegm building up in your respiratory system is not just uncomfortable. It's your body sending you a desperate warning signal that something needs to change right now, and ignoring this could lead to serious respiratory infections, chronic bronchitis, or even pneumonia, which is one of the leading causes of hospitalization among seniors across America, and I've seen too many. Patients end up in the emergency room simply because they thought phlegm was just a minor annoyance, when in reality it was their body crying out for help. My name is Dr. Rebecca Parker. I've worked as a physician for over 20 years, and today I focus specifically on senior health, and in all these years working with thousands of seniors from coast to coast, from the cold winters of Michigan to the humid summers of Florida, I've learned that respiratory health is one of the most neglected areas, especially among older adults, and it breaks my heart because the solutions are often so simple and accessible, and today I'm going to share with you 3 powerful natural juices that can help you eliminate that stubborn phlegm completely, clear your airways, strengthen your lungs, and help you breathe freely again like you deserve to breathe at this stage of your life. You're not alone in this struggle, and I want you to know that right now across America, thousands of seniors are dealing with exactly what you're experiencing, waking up with that awful sensation of mucus in their throat, spending the first hour of the morning coughing and trying to clear their chest, feeling embarrassed in social situations at church or during family gatherings because they're constantly clearing their throat, and trust me when I say this doesn't have to be a reality anymore. Because what I'm about to share with you today are 3 scientifically backed juice recipes that work directly on the root cause of excessive phlegm production, and I promise you that by the end of this video, you'll have a complete understanding of why your body is producing all this mucus, and more importantly, exactly what you can do about it starting today in your own kitchen with ingredients you can find at any Walmart, Kroger, or your local grocery store. But before we dive into these powerful juice recipes, I need you to understand something critical about phlegm, because most people think it's just a nuisance when in fact it's one of your body's most important defense mechanisms. And here's what's really happening inside your respiratory system right now. Your lungs and airways are lined with tiny hair-like structures called cilia, and these cilia are constantly moving, sweeping mucus upward to trap bacteria, viruses, pollutants, and allergens that you breathe in every single day, especially if you live in urban areas or places with high pollution, and during those harsh American winters when we're all breathing in dry indoor air from heating systems, or during allergy season in spring when pollen counts are through the roof, your body ramps up mucus production to protect you. But here's the problem, and this is where things get dangerous. When that mucus becomes too thick or too abundant, it can't be cleared properly, and it starts accumulating in your airways, creating the perfect breeding ground for infections. Let me paint you a picture of what happens when phlegm is ignored, and I've seen this scenario play out hundreds of times in my practice. That thick mucus sitting in your lungs becomes a warm, moist environment where bacteria absolutely thrive and multiply, and within days or even hours you can go from having just annoying phlegm to developing a full-blown respiratory infection that lands you in the hospital requiring antibiotics, breathing treatments, sometimes even hospitalization, and for seniors, especially those over 65, pneumonia isn't just uncomfortable. It can be life-threatening, and according to the CDC, pneumonia and influenza combined are among the top 10 leading causes of death for older Americans, and it often starts with something as simple as ignored phlegm that was allowed to build up and create problems. If this is resonating with you and you're realizing that maybe you've been ignoring your phlegm for too long, hit that like button right now, because it helps other seniors across America find this vital information that could literally save their respiratory health and possibly their lives. Now let's talk about why your body might be producing excessive phlegm in the first place, because understanding the cause is the first step toward the cure, and there are several factors that contribute to this problem, especially as we age. First, as we get older, our immune system naturally weakens, which means our body overcompensates by producing more mucus to trap potential threats. Second, many seniors take multiple medications, and some of these medications, including blood pressure medications, antihistamines, and even some pain relievers, can actually thicken mucus, making it harder to expel. Third, dehydration is a massive problem among older adults, and I can't stress this enough because when your body doesn't have enough water, your mucus becomes thick and sticky instead of thin and easy to clear. And finally, environmental factors like dry indoor air during winter months, exposure to cigarette smoke, air pollution, and seasonal allergies all trigger your body to produce more protective mucus. But here's what most doctors won't tell you, and what the pharmaceutical companies certainly don't want you to know. You don't need expensive medications or complex treatments to address this problem, and while over-the-counter decongestants and expectorants have their place, they often come with side effects like increased blood pressure, dizziness, and interactions with other medications you might be taking. And what I'm about to share with you are natural solutions that work with your body, not against it, to thin mucus, reduce inflammation, boost your immune system, and help your respiratory system function the way it was designed to function. The first powerful juice I want to introduce you to is what I call the pineapple ginger power juice, and this combination is absolutely incredible for breaking down thick, stubborn phlegm, and let me explain exactly why this works from a medical perspective. Pineapple contains an enzyme called bromelain, which is a natural mucolytic agent, meaning it literally breaks down the proteins in mucus, making it thinner and easier to expel from your lungs. And this isn't just folk medicine. There are actual scientific studies showing that bromelain reduces mucus thickness and helps clear airways, plus pineapple is loaded with vitamin C, which strengthens your immune system, helping your body fight off the infections that often accompany excessive phlegm production. Now let's add ginger to this mix, and ginger is a powerhouse anti-inflammatory ingredient that has been used in medicine for thousands of years. And here's what ginger does in your respiratory system. It contains compounds called gingerols and shogales, which reduce inflammation in your airways, help relax the smooth muscles in your bronchial tubes, making breathing easier, and stimulate circulation, which helps your body clear out mucus more efficiently. And I've had patients tell me that within just 30 minutes of drinking this juice, they can feel their chest loosening up, and they're able to cough up phlegm that had been stuck for days. Let me give you the simple protocol for making this pineapple ginger power juice, and I want you to write this down, or better yet, try it today. You'll need 1 cup of fresh pineapple chunks, which you can buy pre-cut at any grocery store if cutting a whole pineapple is too difficult. 1 inch of fresh ginger root, which you'll find in the produce section. Half a lemon for extra vitamin C and to balance the sweetness, and 1 cup of filtered water. Here's what you do. Simply add all these ingredients to a blender, blend on high for about 30 seconds until smooth. And if you prefer a thinner consistency, you can strain it through a fine mesh strainer, but I actually recommend keeping all the pulp because that's where additional fiber and nutrients are. Drink this juice first thing in the morning on an empty stomach for maximum absorption, and your body will start working immediately to break down that thick mucus. I remember one of my patients, a 72-year-old woman named Martha from a small town in Pennsylvania, who had been struggling with chronic phlegm for over 2 years, and she had tried multiple medications, seen several specialists, and was getting frustrated because nothing seemed to work long-term. And when I introduced her to this pineapple ginger juice, she was skeptical at first, but desperate enough to try anything, and within 3 days, she called my office almost in tears, telling me that for the first time in 2 years, she woke up without that horrible mucus sensation in her throat, and after 2 weeks of drinking this juice daily, her chronic cough had reduced by about 70%, and she could finally participate in her church choir again, which she had given up because of constant throat clearing. But that's not all, because while the pineapple ginger power juice is excellent for breaking down mucus, we need to address the inflammation and infection aspect as well, and this brings me to the second powerful juice, which I call the turmeric honey lemon elixir, and this combination specifically targets the inflammation in your respiratory tract while also fighting bacterial and viral infections that often accompany phlegm buildup. Turmeric is one of the most powerful anti-inflammatory compounds found in nature, and the active ingredient in turmeric is called curcumin, which has been extensively studied and shown to reduce inflammation throughout the entire body, including in your lungs. and airways. And what's particularly important for seniors is that turmeric also supports immune function, which naturally declines as we age, making us more susceptible to respiratory infections. Now, when you combine turmeric with black pepper, and this is crucial because black pepper contains piperine, which increases the absorption of curcumin by up to 2,000%, you're creating a synergistic effect that maximizes the anti-inflammatory benefits. Honey is the next ingredient, and I'm talking about raw unfiltered honey, which you can find at farmers markets, health food stores, or even many regular grocery stores now. And honey is absolutely remarkable for respiratory health because it has natural antibacterial and antiviral properties. It coats and soothes irritated throat tissues. And it actually helps thin mucus, making it easier to expel. And there's fascinating research showing that honey can be just as effective as over-the-counter cough suppressants, but without any of the side effects. And for seniors who might be taking multiple medications, this is a huge advantage because you're not adding another drug interaction to worry about. And finally, we add lemon, which is packed with vitamin C to boost your immune system, has natural antibacterial properties, and helps alkalize your body, which creates an environment where infections have a harder time thriving. And the combination of these three ingredients creates a powerful respiratory healing elixir that addresses multiple aspects of the phlegm problem simultaneously. Here's your simple protocol for the turmeric honey lemon elixir, and this one is even easier to make than the first juice. You'll need 1 teaspoon of turmeric powder, or about 1 inch of fresh turmeric root if you can find it, a tiny pinch of black pepper, 1 tablespoon of raw honey, juice from half a lemon, and 1 cup of warm water, not boiling, because extreme heat can destroy some of the beneficial enzymes in honey. Simply mix the turmeric and black pepper in the warm water first, then add the lemon juice, and finally stir in the honey until everything is well combined, and drink this twice a day, once in the morning and once before bed. And I promise you'll start noticing a difference in how your chest feels within just a couple of days. Write in the comments right now, have you ever used turmeric or honey for respiratory problems? Share your experience because your story might inspire someone else to try these natural remedies. Now I know some of you might be thinking that these natural juices sound great, but you're wondering if they're really powerful enough to handle serious phlegm problems, and I completely understand that skepticism because we've been conditioned to believe that only pharmaceutical medications can provide real relief. But let me share something with you that might change your perspective, and this comes from decades of medical experience and countless success stories from my patients. The problem with many conventional mucus treatments is that they only address symptoms temporarily without actually supporting your body's natural healing mechanisms, and drugs like decongestants can dry out your mucous membranes, which actually makes the problem worse in the long run. And expectorants help you cough up phlegm, but they don't reduce the inflammation or fight the infections that are often causing excessive mucus production in the first place. And this is why so many seniors find themselves trapped in a cycle of taking medications that provide temporary relief, but the problem keeps coming back. What makes these natural juices so effective is that they work on multiple levels simultaneously, and they're reducing inflammation, thinning mucus, fighting infections, boosting immune function, and supporting your overall respiratory health. And unlike medications that can have side effects and drug interactions, these ingredients have been safely used for thousands of years and are generally well tolerated even by people taking multiple medications, though of course you should always check with your personal physician, especially if you're on blood thinners, since ginger and turmeric can have mild blood thinning effects. If you want access to exclusive content, detailed meal plans, and personalized advice for managing respiratory health and other senior health concerns, become a channel member where I share even deeper information, including complete protocols for various health conditions, recipes, and direct answers to your specific health questions. Now, let's talk about the third and most powerful juice in this protocol, and I've saved the best for last because this one combines everything we've learned about respiratory health into one incredible immune-boosting, mucus-clearing, lung-strengthening formula, and I call this the Green Immunity Shield juice. And this is the juice that addresses not just the symptoms of phlegm, but actually strengthens your entire respiratory system to prevent future problems. The base of this juice is leafy greens, specifically spinach and kale, which you can find fresh or even frozen at any grocery store from Walmart to Whole Foods. And these greens are absolutely loaded with antioxidants, vitamins A, C, E, and K, minerals like magnesium and potassium, and chlorophyll, which is the green pigment in plants that has incredible detoxifying and anti-inflammatory properties. And here's what most people don't know. Vitamin A is absolutely critical for maintaining healthy mucous membranes in your respiratory tract, and when you're deficient in vitamin A, your mucous membranes become dry and damaged, which actually triggers your body to produce more mucus as a protective response. We're going to add cucumber to this mix, which provides hydration and helps thin mucus, celery, which contains powerful anti-inflammatory compounds, and natural sodium that helps balance fluid levels in your body, green apple for a touch of natural sweetness and additional vitamin C, and fresh parsley, which is one of nature's most powerful detoxifying herbs and helps cleanse your lungs of toxins and pollutants that contribute to excessive mucus production. But here's where this juice becomes truly exceptional, and this is my secret weapon ingredient. We're adding a small amount of cayenne pepper, and I know that might sound strange or even uncomfortable, but hear me out, because cayenne contains capsaicin, which is one of the most powerful natural decongestants on the planet, and capsaicin literally breaks up and thins out mucus, stimulates circulation to help your body clear phlegm more efficiently, and has antimicrobial properties that fight respiratory infections, and you only need a tiny pinch, so it's not overwhelmingly spicy, but the benefits are absolutely remarkable. Here's your complete protocol for the Green Immunity Shield juice, and this is the one I recommend drinking daily for ongoing respiratory health. You'll need 1 cup of fresh spinach, 1 cup of chopped kale removing the thick stems, half a cucumber, 2 celery stalks, 1 green apple cored and chopped, a handful of fresh parsley, juice from half a lemon, a tiny pinch of cayenne pepper, and 1 cup of filtered water or coconut water if you want extra electrolytes. Blend everything together on high speed until completely smooth, and this one I do recommend straining if you're not used to green juices, because the texture can be a bit thick, but again, keeping the pulp gives you extra fiber, which is great for overall health. Drink this juice in the afternoon or early evening, and you can rotate between all 3 juices throughout the day for maximum benefit. Let me tell you about another patient. A 68-year-old man named Robert from Ohio who had worked in construction for 40 years and had developed chronic respiratory problems from years of dust exposure, and he came to me basically as a last resort because he was tired of the constant phlegm, the medications that made him drowsy, and the feeling that his lungs were just getting weaker and weaker, and I put him on a protocol of rotating these 3 juices daily plus some other lifestyle modifications. And within 1 month, his pulmonary function tests showed measurable improvement. His chronic cough had reduced by over 80%. And he told me he felt like he had his life back and could finally play with his grandchildren without getting winded or coughing constantly. Now here's the beautiful thing about these 3 juices and why I recommend using all of them rather than just picking one. They each target different aspects of the phlegm problem, and when you use them together, you're creating a comprehensive respiratory healing protocol that's more powerful than any single ingredient alone, and the pineapple ginger power juice breaks down existing mucus and makes it easier to expel. The turmeric honey lemon elixir reduces inflammation and fights infections, and the Green Immunity Shield juice strengthens your overall respiratory system and provides ongoing protection. If this information has opened your eyes to the power of natural healing for respiratory health, hit that like button right now and help me spread this message to more seniors who desperately need this information. But these juices are only part of the solution, and I need to talk to you about some critical lifestyle factors that either make phlegm worse or help reduce it, because I've seen too many patients drink these juices religiously but continue habits that undermine their respiratory health, and the first big one is hydration, and I cannot stress this enough. You need to be drinking at least 6 to 8 glasses of water every single day, because when your body is dehydrated, your mucus becomes thick and sticky and almost impossible to clear, and I know many seniors don't drink enough water because they're worried about frequent bathroom trips, but proper hydration is absolutely essential for respiratory health. The second factor is humidity levels in your home, and this is especially critical during winter months when we're running our heating systems which dry out the indoor air, and that dry air irritates your respiratory tract and causes your body to produce more protective mucus, and I recommend getting a good humidifier especially for your bedroom and keeping indoor humidity levels between 40 and 50%. And you can buy a simple hygrometer at any hardware store or on Amazon to monitor your humidity levels, and this simple change alone can make a dramatic difference in reducing phlegm production. Third factor is avoiding dairy products at least temporarily while you're dealing with excessive phlegm, and while dairy doesn't actually cause mucus production contrary to popular belief, it can make existing mucus thicker and harder to expel, especially milk and cheese, and many of my patients find that reducing or eliminating dairy for a few weeks while using these juice protocols helps them clear phlegm much faster, and you can always reintroduce dairy later once your respiratory system has healed. Fourth, and this is crucial, get moving because physical activity helps your body clear mucus naturally, and when you exercise or even just go for a gentle walk, you're stimulating your respiratory system, improving circulation, and helping your lungs expel mucus more efficiently. And I'm not talking about running marathons here. Just 15 to 20 minutes of gentle movement, like walking around your neighborhood, doing some light gardening, or even chair exercises if mobility is limited can make a significant difference. And finally, environmental factors matter tremendously, and if you're exposed to cigarette smoke either from smoking yourself or from secondhand smoke, you need to eliminate that exposure immediately because smoke is one of the most damaging things for your respiratory system, and it paralyzes those tiny cilia in your airways that are responsible for clearing mucus, and it triggers massive inflammation and mucus production. And similarly, if you live in an area with poor air quality or high pollution, consider getting a good quality air purifier for your home, especially for your bedroom where you spend 6 to 8 hours every night breathing. Now let me give you a practical daily protocol that combines everything we've discussed, because I want you to have a clear, actionable plan that you can start implementing immediately. Morning routine. Wake up and drink a glass of warm water with lemon to hydrate and alkalize your body. 30 minutes later, drink your pineapple ginger power juice on an empty stomach for maximum mucus-breaking benefits. And do some gentle stretching or take a short walk to stimulate your respiratory system. Midday routine. Drink plenty of water throughout the morning, have a light, healthy lunch avoiding heavy dairy products, and in the early afternoon, drink your green immunity shield juice to support ongoing respiratory health and immune function. Evening routine. Before dinner, drink your turmeric honey lemon elixir to reduce inflammation and fight any infections. Have a light, healthy dinner, again minimizing dairy, and before bed, drink another glass of water, and if your bedroom air is dry, turn on your humidifier. Many of my patients tell me that within just 1 week of following this protocol, they notice significant improvements in their phlegm production. Their breathing feels easier, they're coughing less, and they have more energy because their body isn't constantly fighting to clear mucus from their airways. And after 2 to 3 weeks, the improvements become even more dramatic, with many people reporting that their chronic phlegm problem has reduced by 70 to 80% or even completely resolved. But I want to address something important, because some of you might be thinking that this all sounds too simple or too good to be true, and I understand that skepticism because we've been taught that serious health problems require serious medical interventions. But here's what I've learned in over 20 years of practicing medicine. The human body has an incredible ability to heal itself when given the right tools and the right support, and these natural juices provide your body with concentrated nutrients, anti-inflammatory compounds, immune-boosting vitamins, and hydration that your respiratory system desperately needs to function properly. These aren't miracle cures, and I'm not promising that every single person will have the same results, because individual health situations vary and some people have underlying conditions that require additional medical treatment. But what I can tell you with absolute confidence is that these natural protocols have helped hundreds of my patients significantly improve their respiratory health, reduce or eliminate chronic phlegm problems, and avoid the complications that come with untreated mucus buildup like respiratory infections and pneumonia. If you found this video helpful and you want to support seniors across America getting access to this vital health information, Hit that like button one more time and please share this video with someone you care about because this information could literally save their respiratory health or even their life. Let me share one final story that really illustrates the transformative power of taking control of your respiratory health naturally, and this is about a 75-year-old woman named Dorothy from Florida who had struggled with chronic phlegm and respiratory problems for over 5 years, and she had been hospitalized twice for pneumonia, was on multiple medications, and her quality of life had deteriorated to the point where she was afraid to leave her house because of constant coughing and mucus production, and when she came to me, she was desperate and honestly pretty hopeless about ever feeling normal again. I put Dorothy on the complete protocol we've discussed today. All 3 juices rotated throughout the day, increased hydration, humidifier in her bedroom, gentle daily walks, and some dietary modifications, and I won't lie to you. The first few days were challenging as her body started clearing out years of accumulated mucus, but by the end of the first week, she noticed she was waking up with less phlegm. By the end of the second week, her chronic cough had reduced significantly. And by the end of 1 month, she told me with tears in her eyes that she felt like a completely different person, and now almost a year later, Dorothy hasn't had a single respiratory infection. She's off most of her medications. And she's back to volunteering at her local library and attending her grandchildren's school events, which she had stopped doing because of embarrassment about her constant coughing. That's the kind of transformation that's possible when you give your body the right tools to heal, and I'm sharing Dorothy's story because I want you to know that it's never too late to take control of your respiratory health, and no matter how long you've been dealing with chronic phlegm, no matter how many medications you've tried that haven't worked, your body still has the ability to heal, and these natural protocols can help you get there.